Good afternoon. You're watching ABC News GH. This is ABC News. I am Abna Mante. Coming up in the headlines. The National Democratic Congress has placed the court injunction on the printing of the 2024 election ballot papers for Amenfi Central following the disqualification of its parliamentary candidate. We will hear from the party leadership on this legal battle. The relief package of 1,000 Ghana cedis to each farmer affected by the dry spell in the northern part of the country has received backlash from some farmer associations. We engaged them and we will bring you more on this development. Still to come in this bulletin, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Badwin, is set to deliver a ruling today regarding a petition seeking to declare the seats of 4 members of Parliament vacant. In business, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has hinted at imminent blackout following the shutdown of Sono Nasogli power plant. On the international front, 53 deaths and 100 injuries have been reported in northern Nigeria after a tanker crashed. Stay with us. We have details of these and more coming up shortly. We are grateful for your time this afternoon. We are streaming on YouTube. The channel is ABC News GH. Into our first story for this afternoon, the National Democratic Congress has filed an injunction application seeking to halt the Electoral Commission from proceeding with the printing of parliamentary ballot papers and notice of poll for the Amenfi Central constituency. This legal action follows the recent disqualification of their parliamentary candidate, Joanna Jan Kujo, by the Electoral Commission. The disqualification stems from an interlocutory injunction issued by the Secondary High Court, which prevents the Electoral Commission from recognizing Joanna Kujo as the NDC's candidate for the upcoming December 7 elections. The court's injunction is related to a pending lawsuit concerning Joanna's eligibility, which has not been resolved or lifted, thereby blocking her from contesting in the parliamentary race. As a result, the NDC argues that the EC's continued actions to print ballot papers without resolving the matter would infringe upon the legal process and the rights of their candidate. In this application, the NDC is requesting the court to issue an order to restrain the EC from printing or distributing ballot materials for Amenfi Central until the legal issues surrounding Kujo's disqualification are fully adjudicated. This development adds further complicity to the party's campaign in the constituency as the election day approaches. Earlier today, the NDC Deputy General Secretary Mustapha Bande said the NDC is not concerned about Electoral Commission's disqualification of the party's parliamentary candidate Joanna Kujo in the Amenfi Central constituency. The Electoral Commission, in a letter dated October 10, notified Joanna Kujo of her disqualification from the 2024 elections, citing an injunction from the High Court in 2nd. Reacting to the disqualification on ABC in the morning, Mustapha Bande said the party is not concerned about the situation and will seek legal redress of the EC's decision. He, however, questioned the timeliness of the EC's letter of disqualification.
First and foremost, the party is not worried at all because given the circumstance, we believe that if the party, the EC had engaged with the party, we would not in the first place find ourselves on this path. And secondly, we all are aware that following the disagreements which led to an action in the court and consequentially the interlocutory injunction seeking to nullify the already held parliamentary election in Amenfi Central. The party decided to do so by nullifying that election, even before the court decided, and organized fresh election. Honorable Pachiaka, who is a ringleader in opposition of Joanna Jankujo, participated in the subsequent or the new election, except to say that in the end he was caught on charges of forgery, and he admitted to that and exited from the election on his own voluntary account. The EC then proceeded to declare Joanna Jankujo as an unopposed candidate and affirmed same. And then the General Secretary proceeded to write the letter in accordance with the laws of the Electoral and procedures of the Electoral Commission on the basis of the secondly held election. And so, provide that election.
Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustapha Gbande, further warned that parliamentary elections in the Amenfi Central constituency of the Central Region will not hold on December 7 if the Electoral Commission does not rescind on what he described as erroneous decision to disqualify Joanna Kujo. According to him, the party will follow due procedure to address the disqualification of its parliamentary candidate, but should the EC be recalcitrant, the elections will delay beyond December 7.
Are not closed yet. We are in a rule of law era. The law will test the laws and get to its final conclusion. What I foresee happening is that any recalcitrancy on the part of the Commission would lead to a situation where we may not be able to hold a Amenfi Central election on December 7th. And I think that if the Commission has averted itself to its own work, it wouldn't write such a letter. We find it very erroneous and disingenuous. And so all of these will be dealt with when the party sets to finally outdoor its conclusive stance on this matter. Are not closed.
Still on election-related stories, political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University, Dr. Samuel Lefriye, has warned that the ascendancy in political party groups ahead of the elections could lead to violence in the 2024 elections. According to him, if the rise in supporter groups are not checked, especially in flashpoints and hotspots, it could result in the setting up of vigilante groups to protect ballot boxes, which could degenerate into violence in the elections. He spoke on ABC in the morning.
They are not being managed well. You know, some will set up a security kind of group to protect ballots, to protect the party, to protect a parliamentary candidate, to protect a certain individual. And these things, if it is not well checked, it will result in some of these violence and conflicts within our communities. And it's very, very, very important, especially areas that are being considered as hotspot for the political parties. You know, in Ashanti region, we have a lot of hotspots within the region. And if you're not careful, and these regions, these places, they set up these security kind of groups to protect individuals, to protect the ballot, to protect their interests, then it will end up, there are also another group also setting up to face them. And this will end up in some of these conflicts and some of these issues that will pop up to create violence.
Still on more election-related stories, presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, former President John Dramani Mahama, has told President Nana Akufo-Addo that he has the responsibility to resolve the issue of illegal small-scale mine in Galamsey. Mr. Mahama says although he has plans and strategies to resolve the issue, currently President Akufo-Addo has been voted for by the people to address the issue, hence he must do it. President Akufo-Addo said, "I should come clearly on Galamsey. It looks like he doesn't live in this country because I have commented on Galamsey over and over." That's what former President John Mahama said. The University of Energy and Natural Resources gave political leaders the top platform to outline their policy on small-scale mining. And for a whole hour, I outlined our policy. After that, there were questions and answers for 2 hours. We were there for 3 hours. President Akufo-Addo should tell the Jubilee House press to give him my tape on Galamsey, which I have delivered at the University of Mines and Natural Resources. Recently, when I met the clergymen, a part of my speech was again on Galamsey and small-scale mining. It is his responsibility. The people of Ghana elected him. He is currently the president of Ghana, and it is his responsibility to deal with Galamsey now. I know that after 7th January 2025, when Ghanaians have voted me, have voted for me, I will take that responsibility, and we will spot out illegal mining, he said during his campaign tour in Old Mingo in the Greater Accra region on Thursday, October 17. Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has announced that Ghana will soon launch its first ever streaming platform dedicated to promoting local creative content. In an interaction with creative arts industry players, Dr. Bawumia emphasized the need to leverage technology to boost the creative economy.
PayPal, for example, we don't have access to PayPal. And many content creators, I've heard, have even got monies locked up in PayPal. And when you use PayPal, your money actually sits outside Ghana. It doesn't sit inside Ghana. And so since around 2017, 2018, I've been engaging with PayPal at the very highest levels to say, look, Ghana, we're doing so many things, but we seem to be blacklisted. They've blacklisted us in that sense. But you know, I was teasing. I said, how can you have Nigeria have PayPal and we don't have PayPal? And so we had a good laugh over it and all of it. But in all seriousness, we've been trying to get Ghana to have, you know, that blacklisting taken off, and we've not been able to be successful. We've gone far, but not quite there. And so one of the things that we started working with the Bank of Ghana and Gibbs to look for alternatives, so that because once you are producing and, you know, content, music and so on, you're getting paid and so on, it's very, very important in how you do it. So we are coming up with an alternative of sorts where we have got an agreement to do cards which are co-badged, so MasterCard, Union Pay.
Meanwhile, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has stated that a new platform for receiving payments for the creative industry is being put together by the Bank of Ghana and other stakeholders. Addressing concerns by some creatives who attended the engagement, he noted that the government's efforts to get Ghana unblacklisted on PayPal has proven futile. Hence, the government is developing a new platform for Ghanaian creatives that will be launched soon.
For music. So all the streaming platforms like Spotify and so on are all externally owned. And so when we put our music on those platforms, it's not surprising that the returns in terms of the payments that are made to our musicians are very little. Very little. And they are not much to write home about in general. And so the issue for us of making sure we have a streaming platform locally for music and put in all the catalogs from A to Z that we can find in Ghana on the platforms. That has been something that it has needed to be done for a long time. And so we've been working on this issue. Musica, Gamro, the music producers, and the private sector, the IT sector. We've been trying to, over the last couple of years, see about putting together a music streaming platform, digital platform for Ghanaian content developers in the creative arts, as I said, to facilitate the tracking, collection, and distribution of royalties in the first place, and also to enable creativeness and assess.
The Coalition for Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, has announced its plan to deploy 4,000 observers nationwide for the upcoming December 7 elections. Addressing the media stakeholders of the 2024 elections, CODEO says these observers will serve as rapid response observers. According to CODEO, these observers will be stationed at polling stations across all 275 constituencies in the 16 regions of Ghana. Their primary role will be to monitor the electoral process and ensure transparency and fairness. Albert Kofi Ahen is the national coordinator for CODEO, and he had this to say about their deployment.
You know, they are watching the campaigning, they are watching the police service, the security forces, what they are doing, and then they are going to report. In actual fact, the 100 observers are going to give us a picture of what we should be expecting on the 7th. So we all prepare. They are going to report on violence if they come across any. They are going to talk about how the campaigning is going on, if there's any bribery going on. And there are a whole lot of things they are going to do. They are going to prepare the short-term observers. And by short-term observers, I mean those who are going to be working on the D-Day, so that we all prepare our minds and be able to go into this election. Bearing in mind the fact that we need to be peaceful, we need to be very methodical the way we go about things as a nation, to make sure that the 2024 election goes on smoothly without any hitch. You remember last year we had some problems with violence. We are all praying that it should not occur or rear its ugly head again. So we're going to tell the police, or we are informing the police, and of course the National Task Force, that maybe this time around, when anybody is caught trying to cause confusion, sometimes maybe at the police station or whatever, they should be arrested and dealt with immediately, because we don't want to have a repeat of what occurred during the last election. So in actual fact, what CODEO is doing is that we are going to start training our 4,000.
The AU's High Representative for Silence and Guns, His Excellency Mohammed Ibn Chambers, who officially launched the 2024 Election Observation and Post-Election Action Plan, and treated all stakeholders during this period to preach peace during and after the 2024 general elections.
Participants, and especially at this phase, the electoral management body, to open up all the critical procedures so we can move forward towards the election. Let me say that we are 50 days to the election. The atmosphere in the country is assured. We are in the peak of campaigns. The electoral process leading to election is in full steam. In many other places, you have been receiving reports of clashes, confrontations. So far in our country, that is not the case. And I think this atmosphere is conducive to ensuring continued peaceful processes, peaceful campaigning. The campaigns this time around seem to be around issues, what each party, what each candidate intends to do, national level, constituency level. That is where it should remain. And let us hope that if it stays this way, then ultimately it comes down to the people having the right to choose their leaders on December 7th. And then ultimately it is Ghana that wins.
Now let's take some stories in relation to Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbadin, is set to deliver a ruling today, Thursday, October 17, regarding a petition seeking to declare the seats of 4 members of Parliament vacant. This critical decision comes after extensive discussions and arguments presented by both the majority and minority sides of the House concerning the petition filed by former minority leader Haruna Idrisu. The petition specifically targets 3 majority MPs and 1 MP from the National Democratic Congress, invoking Article 97 of the Constitution. This constitutional provision stipulates that an MP must vacate their seat if they leave the party under which they were elected or attempt to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate. This situation has sparked significant debate within Parliament, highlighting the political tensions between the ruling party and the opposition. During a heated parliamentary debate on Tuesday, Speaker Gbadin acknowledged the gravity of the matter and requested an additional 2 days to deliver a well-reasoned ruling. We will do well to bring you the update after today's sitting of Parliament. Of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, who doubles as the Dean for the Faculty of Accounting and Finance at the University for Professional Studies, Accra, Professor Isaac Boedi has clarified the reason for their call on leadership to end the indefinite strike because some members who partook in the October 2 referendum didn't understand the intricacies of the motion they voted for. In an interview earlier on ABC in the morning, he stated that the majority of members couldn't vote due to bad internet connection. Professor Isaac Boedi further urged that leadership take a look at it and reconsider their decision, since the education sector hasn't fully recovered after COVID-19 messed to the academic calendar.
Had 2,000 and above, represent about 70-something%. No, about 650 or 608 or so. So if you put the numbers together, it's almost less than 3,000 or 3,000 using a 10,000 and above membership. So we can't say majority. Others didn't vote because of the time and because of the fact that they didn't understand the motion. Others had internet challenges. Not our mandate to join UTAG. Maybe our people were not educated well and they voted. And you look at the number that voted, over 10,000 against over 3,000. In fact, the silent majority is only calling our leadership. It's not too late. We will support you in any way. We are fighting one common goal. We are concerned about the approach of all this. Already, we are breaking our backs. Most of our universities, my university, since COVID came, 2019, we've been working in an attempt to realign the academic calendar. Other issues do come in, and we are unable to align the academic calendar. If we embark on this strike,
the General Secretary for the University Teachers Association, UTAG, Dr. Ilyasu Mumuni, has stated that whatever they are doing is for the betterment of UTAG members and not with any political parties. In an interview on ABC in the morning, he explained that no leadership wants to taint the image of UTAG. His response is in relation to a group termed Silent Majority within the association, describing the UTAG strike as unfortunate despite organized labor's resolve to call off its strike.
Since the issue broke up, we've been having engagements. We've been making serious effort to have issues that we have with them addressed. and to see how we can collectively, together with them, move further to make sure that whatever we are doing it in the interest of Ghanaians, UTAC members.
Okay.
And not with any other political lens, and not with anyone's bidding.
Okay.
Because today, UTAC will exist, tomorrow it will, and tomorrow next until in perpetuity. And because of that, no leadership wants to taint the image of that brand. Once we do that, then this sort of autonomous, liberal scholarship we advance and push for will be dead. And we cannot have a livelihood that will be dead.
Still on strikes, former Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Charles Aheto Chega, has pointed to the government's lack of responsiveness to the concerns of teacher unions as the primary cause of the escalating strikes in the education sector. The former GES official argued that government's failure to honor its part of agreement with teacher unions has led to the increasing frustration among teachers, driving them to embark on industrial actions. He made these claims in an interview on ABC in the morning.
Then that happens. But where you reach a consensus and another party, one party says, okay, fine, I'm going ahead and doing this agreement because we have agreed, we have gone through the dialogue, participation and all of that. And then the other party just immediately after leaving the discussion table goes to the office and throws the paper somewhere underneath a certain cupboard and forgets about it. You will definitely have confusion. You definitely have confusion. And that is what is the problem with the kind of issues that are happening, with the kind of strikes that are going on. Once you do not fulfill your part of a consensus, then you are breeding confusion, and leaders and organization heads no longer have control over the issues because the parties or one party in the discussion has chosen not to honor.
The president of the Teachers and University Staff Association of Ghana, TUSAG, Kojo Enin Opan, has emphasized that teacher unions do not take pleasure in going on strike, but often see it as the last resort to address their grievances. The TUSAG president, in an interview on ABC News GH, noted that while unions strive to maintain dialogue and negotiations with the government and other stakeholders, their concerns are frequently met with delays or inadequate responses. This, according to him, leaves them with no choice but to resort to industrial action.
That was solely based on the trust we have with the Minister of Education, Fair Wages and GTEC. We are hoping, we have a gentleman's agreement. We are hoping that they will fulfill certain things that they must do. If these things are met, we'll be okay. Fairness is all that we are after. No one wants to be overpaid, but no one also wants to be underpaid. As long as there's fairness in the system and everybody is being treated fairly, everybody will be okay. That was solely based on the trust we have with the Minister of Education, Fair Wages and GTEC. We are hoping, we have a gentleman's agreement. We are hoping that they will fulfill certain things that they must do. If these things are met, we'll be okay. Fairness is all that we are after. No one wants to be overpaid, but no one also wants to be underpaid. As long as there's fairness in the system and everybody is being treated fairly, everybody will be okay. That was solely based on the trust we have.
Meanwhile, the Teachers and University Staff Association of Ghana, TUSAG, has called for a fair and equitable salary structure for its members after suspending planned industrial action. The strike, which was initially scheduled to address concerns over salary discrepancies and conditions of service, was called off following negotiations with the government. Kojo Enin Opan, president of TUSAC, said this in an interview on ABC in the morning, and he stated that it is essential for government to take concrete steps to address the disparities in the salary structure of its members to ensure fair treatment. Away from that, Executive Director of the Peasants Farmers Association of Ghana, Bismarck Owusu-Norte, has indicated that most farmers affected by the dry spell that hit part of the country are confused on the modalities being used for the selection of farmers and distribution of relief items. Bismarck claims that farmers are yet to receive any support from government, contradicting the Agric Minister's claim that they have started distributing fertilizers across the affected regions. According to him, registration of farmers to qualify for the relief package is still in the process. Hence, farmers have not yet received anything. He spoke on ABC in the morning.
The issue raised by the minister that the exercise is going on. I'm currently from the field. The whole of last week, I was in the Uti region. The whole of this week, I've been in the Upper West, Upper East region. And I can tell on authority that there is no distribution going on now. In fact, the information that we've gathered, even from the own Agric director that we've engaged, is that they are even at loss as to exactly what the modalities are. On one breath, there are some who tell you that they are even now doing the registration of farmers. There are others who tell you that they are even now compiling the names. Our engagement with the farmers didn't show that a lot of the farmers are not even aware that they are supposed to go and register. Meanwhile, they are being told that they are supposed to register under the Ghana Agribusiness Platform. That's the GAPS. The GAPS itself, as I'm speaking to you, has a lot of challenges because for a farmer to be registered and acknowledged, you need to be registered under the GAPS, and then you need to have your farm being mapped.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of the Peasants Farmers Association of Ghana, Bismarck Owusu-Norte, has stated that relief program for the affected farmers of the dry spell lacks transparency. Addressing figures from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, he noted that the number used by the ministry as the total number of affected farmers has no backing or data to support it. He further questioned why the ministry has yet to provide the modalities for the distribution of relief items.
It's not even something that can work very well. And then secondly, the CAPS platform that we have been using, as I mentioned, is the same platform that was used to register farmers under the PFJ 2.0. Now, the last time I checked, the data from the platform indicated that just about 800,000 farmers have registered. Now, these 800,000 farmers are farmers who are supposed to be part of the PFJ 2.0, and then the support for the dry spell. So the question is this: even if the farmers that are registered for PFJ 2.0, if those farmers, up to now, they are 800,000 cities, and this exercise was done for over 6 months. On what basis did the minister get a figure of 800,000 farmers for only 8 regions who are affected by the drought? So you could tell that the whole exercise itself is done in some form of secrecy, because there seems to be no clarity even from the extension officers, from the directors, and even from the farmers. So I don't agree with the minister, because even when it comes to even the distribution, what is the mode of distribution? No one knows. What is the timeline of distribution? When are they starting? No one knows.
Well, let's take some business stories. Business, the policy lead for petroleum and conventional energy at the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, Kojo Yauche, has said that Ghanaians should expect blackouts soon. He said in an interview on ABC in the morning that having a whopping 500 megawatts being taken off the grid is a cause for concern, and signals that we should be expecting some blackouts very soon if immediate steps are not taken to bring them to the table to a certain level of agreement. This comes after Sono Nasagli shuts down its power plant over a $259 million ECG debt.
That is a little over 500 megawatts of power. So earlier this year, we were shedding around 600 to 800 megawatts, and that caused a lot of power outages within the country that everybody was complaining about. So if we are having a whopping 500 megawatts being taken off the grid, that really is a cause for concern, and that really signals that we should be expecting some blackouts very soon. If immediate steps are not taken to really bring them to the table to come into a certain level of agreement.
Meanwhile, Kojo Yauche said that the government's control over ECG is one of the biggest challenges that the country is facing. He said this after a call for overhauling the system due to it being unsustainable at the moment. He said the managers of the company are not responsible to the consumers that they serve, but rather to the appointing authority. According to Kojo Yauche, it is high time we moved beyond government management and tap into the benefits of private sector involvement.
I've always insisted that government control over the management of ECG is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing, where the managers of the company are not even responsible to the consumers that they serve. They are responsible to some appointing authority. You remember the point where we were even asking for a simple schedule so we know when our lives will go on as consumers of a utility. They couldn't be bothered about us because the appointing authority wanted to create the impression that there was no problem. Right, so we will have to move beyond this point where government controls the management of the company to a point where we inject some form of private sector because the appointing authority wanted to create the impression that there was no problem. Right, so we will have to move beyond this point where government controls the management of the company to a point where we inject some form of private. They are responsible to some appointing authority. You remember the point where we were even asking for a simple schedule so we know when our lives will go on as consumers of a utility. They couldn't be bothered about us because the appointing authority wanted.
Fuel prices are now edging closer to 15 Ghana cedis per litre, a rise that many industry analysts had anticipated due to ongoing economic pressures. The recent hikes are driven by two main factors: the continued depreciation of the cedi against major international currencies, which is increasing import costs, and the upward trend in global market prices for refined petroleum products. These combined forces have made price increases inevitable for OMCs operating locally. Shell has led the charge by increasing its prices for the second time in October with a jump of over 50 pesos. As of now, a litre of petrol, which was previously priced at 13.79 Ghana cedis, is now sold at 14.72 Ghana cedis. Diesel has similarly risen from 14.35 Ghana cedis to 14.99 per litre. That's all for Business Now Sports News.
Thank you, boss. See you next week. Yo, where is my passport? Where is my passport? Yo, man, I want to Waba.
Whoopsie,
and then
give me my passport. You made me pay for express for 24 hours and yet it's not in.
You told me that you are telling me this. What's going on? Hello.
This man here has taken my money. That within 24 hours he'll do my passport for me.
Oh, the same thing applies to me. He told me last night. He's telling me this week. Process. That's what they do. Yeah. Oh, madam. Please relax. I'll get for you in 24 hours.
Hey, Guru man. So you never change? Eh? You get passport for someone within 24 hours, Madam Obwa. See, the normal working hours is 9 to 5. Eh? Not 24 hours, yeah, I'm fat. You guys have made a very big mistake by trusting these people. Now, through digitalization, passport application has been made so easy. Now, you don't need to stress yourself and join any long queue for your passport. All you have to do is to log on to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website and begin your application. By buying a passport application voucher online. Simple and easy. And very soon, all you need to get your passport will be your Ghana card.
What is it true?
Yeah, Obisa. It is possible.
You yourself, I didn't know this. I feel like this.
Come on. Come on.
In sports, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo has urged the Ghana Football Association to be deliberate about grooming local players for the Black Stars. This comes after the senior national team's poor performance after 4 matches in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. He emphasized that Ghana has good players in the country, and if we camp them for 3 months and give them the right training, we will see what we can get from these local players for the Black Stars. Ghana sits third in Group F with 2 points after recording 2 draws and 2 defeats, leaving their chances of playing in the tournament in Morocco next year in doubt. Following the Black Stars' shocking 2-0 defeat on Tuesday, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo believes it is time for the Football Association to groom local players to play for the senior national team. Black Stars captain Andre Dede Ayew has celebrated the 15th anniversary of Ghana's FIFA Under-20 World Cup triumph. The forward led the Black Star Satellites to a historic victory in 2009 after starring for the Under-20 team as they became the first country and only from Africa to win the FIFA World Cup. The Black Satellites defeated Brazil in the final on penalties, with Ayew one of the players to successfully convert from the spot. Ayew has risen through the ranks and is currently the captain of the senior national team, despite missing the last 3 invites. Ayew posted on Instagram on October 16, exactly 15 years of the victory, and he wrote, 15 years ago, we made history. We brought the FIFA World Cup Under-20 to Africa for the first time. I'm filled with immense pride thinking about our exceptional squad, brilliant technical staff, and dedicated management team who worked tirelessly behind the scenes. To my teammates, coaches, and entire support staff, I offer my deepest gratitude. Your hard work, passion, and commitment made this achievement possible. Forever grateful for that unforgettable journey and the memories we created together. Ayew returned to France to rejoin Le Havre early this month and could make his second debut on Sunday in the game against Olympique Lyonnais. That's all for sports. Let's take some international news. At least 153 deaths and 100 injuries have been reported in northern Nigeria after a crashed tanker exploded near locals who had gathered to retrieve fuel. 94 deaths were recorded on Wednesday, October 16, but Jigawa police spokesperson Lawal Shisu Adam reported yesterday that the toll was expected to rise from the blast, which happened late evening on Tuesday in Majiya, a village in Jigawa State. Officers had warned people not to approach the tanker after the accident late on Tuesday night, but were unable to contain the growing crowd, said police spokesman Lawal Shisu Adam. The driver, who was not injured, has been taken into custody while the police conduct an investigation. In a condolence message to the families of the victims, Vice President Kashim Shettima called for a comprehensive review of fuel transportation safety protocols across Nigeria. A mass burial has been conducted for those who lost their lives in the explosion. That's all for international stories. Now some entertainment news. Actress Martha Nkome's 5 million Ghana cedi defamation lawsuit against Kumawood actor Kojo Nkansah, also known as Lil Wayne, has reached a new phase. Despite previous attempts to settle the case out of court, Lil Wayne's legal team has declined the proposal, paving the way for a court hearing. The High Court in Accra has scheduled the hearing to begin on November 5, 2024. Martha Nkoma was present in court while Lil Wayne was absent without legal representation. The court has issued hearing notices and directed that the case proceed as scheduled. The case has been adjourned to November 5, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Nkansah, popularly known as Lil Wayne, was seen in a viral video insulting the actress for her alleged comments downplaying Martha's prominence in the film industry. In a writ of summons filed on February 14, 2024, Martha Nkoma claims the statements made by Lil Wayne have harmed her reputation and the brand GTP. Martha Nkoma insists that Lil Wayne falsely accused her of expressing disdain towards Kumawood actors by refusing to collaborate with them due to their perceived lack of quality storylines. That's all for the news this afternoon, but before we go, a recap of our headlines. The National Democratic Congress has placed the court injunction on the printing of the 2024 election ballot papers for Memphis Central following the disqualification of its parliamentary candidates. The relief package of 1,000 Ghana cedis to each farmer affected by the dry spell in the northern part of the country has received backlash from some farmer associations. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, is set to deliver a ruling today regarding a petition seeking to declare the seats of 4 members of Parliament vacant. In business, the Africa Center for Energy Policy has hinted an imminent blackout following the shutdown of Sonon Asogli power plant. On the international front, 53 deaths and 100 injuries have been reported in Nigeria after a crashed tanker in the northern part of Nigeria. We are grateful for your time this afternoon. For more news, visit our website www.abcnewsgh.com. I am Abna Manti. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.